Hello and welcome back to my Paradox Interactive historical playthrough mega series, playing as the modern-day nation of Turkey, or rather their ancestors, the Ottoman Empire. I'm Admiral Jedi. This is video number 6. With the Ottoman Empire in decline, the year is 1706, we're going to be starting to focus a lot less on military activities and outcomes, and a lot more on diplomatic outcomes. And this is indeed what was going on in the Ottoman Empire at this time. I don't think they admitted it, but they kind of realized that they had reached the end of their expansion, and the great powers at this time were really beginning to overshadow them. So we have great powers including France, Great Britain, Sweden. Russia is going to become a major rival of the Ottomans. Persia remains a rival, and we're going to be focused a lot more on diplomacy. And one of the ways we're going to try to do that is by a concept that I introduced last video that I'm calling daycare, which is not historically accurate, but rather what we're going to do is try to see some of the nations that are out of control. Yes, I'm talking about you, Commonwealth, and your huge, massive land that you shouldn't be owning. And we're going to try and cut them down to size. So what I'd really like to do is befriend Brandenburg, but I can't because Brandenburg has, for whatever reason, become a junior partner under Great Britain. Super historically not accurate. I would like to see Brandenburg form Prussia, and so we're going to try and weaken the Commonwealth quite a bit. Also, I want to see the Commonwealth get weakened so that Russia can make their further westward expansion and eventually lead towards what I believe was the partition. I don't know much about that because I haven't really studied Polish or Lithuanian history, but I believe that all sides of them, Sweden, Russia, I believe Austria, possibly Hungary, kind of agreed to sort of split things up. The Commonwealth wasn't completely broken up, but they did lose a lot of territory on the east side to Russia and to Prussia as well, which unfortunately doesn't exist. So to simulate the decline of military action and the rise of diplomatic action, we're going to spend almost the entire video doing Ottoman daycare, or trying to do nation building, which will hopefully see the Commonwealth cut down to size and Prussia come to life. Now, unfortunately, I can't really do that. Brandenburg's got to get over here in these northeastern territories. I think they even need to go even further. I think they need to go into what's called currently Krolowitz, but I believe that's something like Danzig or something like that. I'm super terrible with this, sorry. And so I really need to help them. And because I cannot ally with them and feed them these territories, the best I can do is try to weaken the Commonwealth to where they look scrumdiddlyumptious. And yes, there are Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory references in my videos. I'm sorry. It just is who I am. It just came out. Now, something else that began around this time, desperate for cash, the Ottoman imperial administration began looking for more creative ways to raise money. And they did this by way of what's called tax farming. I think we might have talked about this before, but we're going to go through it a little bit more now. And that is, they outsourced the privilege to collect taxes to the aristocratic nobles in the area. It was basically like, all right, you pay us up front the taxes we think you could collect, and then you get the privilege of then collecting them. So it became a quick infusion of cash for the treasury, but what it really became was a huge boost in power for the nobles. Now, I'm believing that the Umera are those nobles. I think by definition, what does it say, represents the families of a landed aristocrats. So I have yet to come across the term Umera in my research. So we're going to grant them a few privileges to represent their increased power of what were called the grandees, or sort of the noble families. And what we're going to grant them privilege-wise are primacy of the Umera, strong duchies, because they did become stronger, a lot stronger. And that was really, in my opinion, based on my research, sort of the beginning, another piece of the beginning of the end for them. There was another one, grant court positions. Yeah, here we go. Because these people could then kind of do whatever they wanted. They frequently rose to rebellion or supported opposing candidates. And then when the Sultan or the central administration wanted to sort of rein them in, they couldn't, or rather they didn't, because they were like, hey, we need money still, and military troops. So a significant amount of their troops and money began to come from the nobility, which really let them kind of get out of control. Now, there's one other thing that I'm going to do going forward, because I don't think I can do this by decision, and that is, I have been keeping stability high just because it's like, well, that's, you know, me trying to play a good game, right? Well, stability under the Ottoman Empire was not high. There were constant rebellions, constant. It's like every year there was some sort of rebellion. So I am no longer going to play with stability above 0. I really don't want to go negative on it, but I'm no longer going to keep it high. So if something kills it, we're going to let it stay low. And so that's really the setup. We are going to get started with our good friends, the Commonwealth, declaring war on them, and see if we can take them down a notch here. You know what? I think I tried this before and had kind of a good piece of luck declaring on Nitra. And not, oh, no, see, we get a lot more people come in that way. I guess I don't really mind fighting Venice. Seems to happen anyway. So, let's bring folks in, and the whole point of this is really just to knock the Commonwealth down. So we're going to do a humiliation on them. And I assume this is going to take a while. The year is 1717, and I have been fighting for obviously a long time. It's like 10 years. And we won, but unfortunately nothing really happened. They've been really whittled down. 6k manpower, 34k troops, but I'm down to 0 and 84 myself. Oh no, that's sailors, excuse me. I'm down to 0 manpower myself, and let's see what I am. I'm 0 238. So we need to do some manpower recovery. I can now ally with Russia, which I'm going to do, even though that is not historically accurate. Because I wish I would have done that sooner. I looked back, and I don't think that I could have. They have all these claims on the Commonwealth that I should have gone forward with. So I think the next time around we'll do that. And I'm going to hope that in the meantime Brandenburg will push east. But I've done a couple reloads, and I have yet to see them actually do this, unfortunately. So we're going to take a little bit of time, fast forward a little bit to regain our manpower, and see what we can do from there. The year is 1720, and as we continue forward with the theme of elevating diplomacy and administrative success over military success, a couple things happen in 1720. The Ottomans began sending out more envoys to other nations to basically see how they were running. One of them that caught my eye was a guy named Yermashekis Çelebi Mehmed, who is sent as an envoy to France, ostensibly to give permission to France to rebuild the Holy Sepulchre in Israel, one of the Christian holy sites. And but while he was there in France, he was given instructions to spy, basically, but to observe how their factories worked, how their educational systems worked. And while the opening of the Ottoman Empire to Western culture, and the term Westernization can even be under debate, while that was sort of ongoing, we see an acceleration of it during this time period, and especially in the next century, in the 1800s. As they began to look outside themselves, my research didn't really say this, but it, in my opinion, it's as they kind of started realizing they didn't have the answers to everything. And Western great powers, as well as Russia, began to excel them in practically every way. Arts, military, coming up but not quite yet. We see a time period where the Ottomans suffer some major defeats, one after another, against Russia. And it really stirs them into action to say, okay, what can we do differently? That's probably not going to happen in this video. It's probably going to happen in the next one. But also in this era, this age was called the Tulip Age, where a lot of attention was paid to the beautification and sort of noble projects, one of which was the creating of tulip gardens everywhere. And like I alluded to earlier, nobles and even the Sultan himself began to see success on the military front as not exactly the end-all be-all of everything, and in fact, administrative success was becoming more potent. So I'm going to simulate that by bumping administrative up to the top in terms of my investment of monarchy points. We're going to keep going. We really haven't made much of a dent. Oh, I guess a little bit of a dent. That's good. In our manpower reserves. We are going to wage war, hopefully with Russia, against to contain Persia a little bit, because they're getting pretty big here, actually. And I've seen some other times where they attack Russia, and I don't need Russia any weaker than they are from a historic perspective. I need them stronger, actually, which sucks because eventually they're going to be my enemy. And I really wish the Commonwealth wouldn't be up here going after Sweden as bad as they are. Anyway, so Tulip era, more diplomacy, less military, and that's really kind of the name of the game. We're going to see some more battles, but they're going to be a lot of either daycare battles, which did not happen historically, or defensive battles where we're going to start losing some territory. And a significant one that's going to be coming up is the loss of the Crimea to Russia. Don't know how I'm going to pull that off quite yet, because I need Russia to occupy more of the Commonwealth. But maybe when they get big, I'll dissolve the alliance and then we can fight each other. It's 1726, and a unfortunate and curious development. Brandenburg did not form Prussia. Britain did. So now it's British North Germany. So unfortunately, I think Britain is they're the people to beat. They're declared naval hegemon. They have a huge army. You know, I was going to be okay if France, revolutionary France, you know, we had to fight Napoleon or something, but when it goes completely ahistorical, that's kind of lame. So, a little bit bummed out about that. I was hoping to see Prussia. Instead, we're going to see British North Germany. Good news is, the Commonwealth, for whatever reason, has divorced themselves from Venice. So, the moment this truce wears off, the Commonwealth is going to look a lot different. A couple of historical events that have literally nothing to do with the completely unhistorical war that I'm in right now, with France trying to take Strasbourg. Anyway, I'm allied to France, so they called me to war. In 1727, the first Arabic language printing press was put into use. You might recall from my previous videos that printing presses had pretty much been banned until that point. And also, completely unrelated to that, in 1730, a popular uprising started by a gentleman named Patrona Halil took shape. I've mentioned dozens of times that popular uprisings were commonplace. It seemed to happen every single year. This one kind of stood out to me because Patrona Halil was described as a man of the people, that he was able to sort of even charm the Sultan's mother with his, quote, Rasputin-like charms. He would walk around barefoot and talked about things like how everybody was equal. And so it just sort of smacked to me of kind of the liberal French Revolution, liberté, équalité, égalité, fraternité. Anyway, if you watch my previous videos. So it was just kind of an interesting concept to me, as opposed to the typical Janissary revolt of, hey, we want more money and more privileges for doing absolutely nothing. This guy wanted equality and liberty, and who knows if his motivations were entirely pure. But anyway, so back we go to the war. What is a little bit concerning to me at this point is Britain is also waging war against the Commonwealth, which I haven't even started yet. My truce is up, so the moment my current war expires, I'm going to dive into that and reclaim some territories for Russia. But Britain is doing an imperialist conquest of, and I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean the entire Commonwealth will become theirs? That's pretty creepy. Will they push on as British North Germany? So we may see what's going to happen there, but we're going to try and attack the Commonwealth at the same time. So the meaningless war is over, and the meaningful war is about to begin. The Commonwealth is kind of... they have problems. They have no more allies at this point at all. And I don't know why I cannot... oh no, you can't do war goals on behalf of your allies. You can only do it on behalf of your vassals. I forgot about that. Which is fine, because I can still cede provinces to Russia. And I have territories that I can take on behalf of Crimea, which we're gonna do. I'm gonna think that out a little bit so I don't just stumble around and make you watch that. But we can call in Russia, which I plan on doing. France, yeah, they can take a break. That's fine. So we're gonna go ahead and go to war with them. Like I said, I'm gonna pause this and get this, or fast forward this and get this set up a little bit better. I am very curious to see what's gonna happen with this imperialism war that Britain's waging. But I also, part of me is like, you know what, maybe I'll just wait and see what happens while they whittle them down. However, I'm not exactly feeling threatened by this. You know, I mean, once we queue up, things are looking pretty good. I'm not exactly too worried about that. So maybe what we'll do is push on the Crimean side. Here, take these territories. Because I'm sure that they'll come in and attack me. It's just what they do. And I'll leave maybe, I don't know, 2 armies. Because right now I have 5 armies. So we'll have 3 armies in here in the southeast Commonwealth area. Yeah, alright. Well, I'll get this set up and we'll get it started. 1734, and the war against the Commonwealth is going, pretty well, easily well. I mean, I'm a little bit ashamed to be beating up on them as much as I am. And Britain is also beating up on them. They're further along in their war progress. I'm a little bit worried that they're going to like take the entire Commonwealth and invalidate everything I did and have this massive... But anyway, that's really just non-historical at all. I'm trying to return Crimea to the Crimeans, and just this wedge of Western Russia to Russia. But it's a hefty lift in terms of war score and everything like that. So I made a little save in case something weird happens, but we're gonna just keep beating up on them for a while to defeat them militarily and take a few more forts and see how it goes. The British war against the Commonwealth is over. Kind of don't recall how much territory North Germany had versus how much they have now. Oh, Finland exists. That's kind of cool. Maybe that's one of the things they did, is release them. Anyway, so they didn't take over all the Commonwealth, which is nice. Okay, 1735. Let's go ahead and just end it. We can give a significant amount of territory to Russia, which I want to do. So let's go ahead and see what they look like now. Alright, good. I'm a little bit bummed about this because, again, Russia is probably, definitely historically, and hopefully, should be a major enemy of ours. The Commonwealth is just beat to death at this point. I wish we could partition them. That was done. Be fun to add the concept of ooh, what's this? How in the world have I fulfilled a mission? I'm at like my 6th video. What did I even fulfill? Sorry, I'm super curious. Why can I not see it? Oh, there it is. March into the mountains. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I guess I got some more. I guess it's because I took this one province here, right here. Abkhazia. Did I get more territories? I don't think so. I can take Crimea, but I'm not going to because historically they remained a vassal of the Ottomans. And again, we're all done with... Ooh, Italy. That's fun. It's the first time I think that's the first time I've ever seen Italy formed. I'm geeking out over here. Austria, meh. And I guess this is Prussia. It's too bad they can't be Prussia. Sure. Anyway, it'd be so cool if there was the capability to do a partition. You know, to enforce a partition. That'd be a fun little feature. Alright, we're going to march everybody back home, and I was going to do some battle against Persia, but I'm just not. Our borders are secure at this point. If they go into Russia, I will defend Russia as their ally. For now, I think, frankly, we're just going to wait another 10 years and beat up the Commonwealth again. That's all I can really do. We've got a few more historical events coming up here that we're going to highlight. But for now, let's fast forward until then. Fast forward quite a bit. The year is 1753, and I've just been fighting a lot of nonsense, frankly. Some pretty non-historical nonsense. Venice has been the most recent one to go revolutionary, in addition to Great Britain. We'll deal with them in just a minute. So, ironically, France, who's not revolutionary, which of course they should be, but not for another 40 years, invited me to go to war with them, and since I love fighting Venice because I hate them and their stupid little island, that wasn't even part of the plan. It just ended. I just thought that this defeat was kind of interesting. So France is going to get Berna, Zurigo, Sangallo, Costanza. I don't even know where these places are. I think it's like up here in the north, because Venice had all that for whatever reason. Austria's like beep, 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 you know. Anyway, and then they ceded Ottomans to, that's me. We'll get Donji, Kraji, Wienerwald, Zara. Zara makes sense, okay? But again, I shouldn't have these at this point. I shouldn't be this far north, frankly, because we lost to those a while back, and I really shouldn't have them. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to get rid of them. And interestingly enough, Croatia was released as a sovereign state, so we'll see who kills them practically instantaneously. And then Venice goes back to being, it was fun, it said a monarchy. Like, I'm pretty sure they weren't a monarchy, actually. I'm pretty sure they were a republic. But let's see what it shows. The Venetian governs an empire. Okay, that's the rank. Empire, a monarchy. Okay, fine. So anyway, Venice got, you know, kind of beaten down, which is good. There didn't need to be revolutionary, not historical. Britain, however, is. And I mean, obviously they struggled with the revolution, and obviously not this early, because the French Revolution didn't really occur. I think it was, 1789 or something like that. And all of Europe got scared to death when that happened. This is not really a video topic for this video. But anyway, they got kind of scared to death. And so there were rumblings, of course, and I'm pretty sure not a full movement within Britain for revolution. Good grief, they're just absolutely massive. I don't know how we're going to fight. They've got to be number one at this point. Yeah. And then France, and then we're pretty far down. Okay, because they've already, also we have opened up industrialization, which I'm going to not go quickly on that for historical accuracy's sake. But anyway, they're going to be rough. Like I've whined about earlier, Prussia doesn't exist because of that. So I'm going to go beat up on the Commonwealth again, because I can, to give Russia more territory. Something else that happened around this time, actually around 1749, was more conflict with Persia. We're not really going to do that. But one of the things that came up with Persia was they wanted to add, they requested that the Shia school be added to the list of acknowledgedly, well, I don't think it was I think it was the Shia school, be acknowledged to the list of scholars that were, like, I should say kosher. I mean, that's a Jewish term, of course. But anyway, you know, that they were accepted within Sunni Islam. And the answer was nah, like they did not allow that. But one of the things that they got as a concession was the Ottomans nor any other Sunni Islam could no longer claim that the Shia were heretics from the perspective of being able to wage war on them. You might remember from some of my previous comments that Muslims, by Islamic law, were not allowed to wage war on each other. So they had to come up with, like, I don't want to use the term excuses, but let's call it justifications. And one of the quote-unquote justifications formerly was that Shia was heresy. And so they were able to go to war on them basically any time, justifying it that they were heretics. And so while Shiism was not admitted, so to speak, into Sunni Islam and considered a legitimate school, they were no longer able to attack them as heretics. So we've got, I'm going to do a little bit more daycare on the Commonwealth side, but we have one minor, well, actually major, one great event coming up here in 1762, and then we're going to end the video. And it's all about Russia. So what happened in 1762 in Russia? Let's fast forward and find out. So after our fair amount of fighting with the Commonwealth. Man, they're hard to fight against for some reason. This is what Russia looks like now. Remember, I'm doing daycare on Russia because they're supposed to be a big enemy of mine. So they've got a little war going against. Here are they fighting against Uzbek? Yeah, an imperialist war. So that's good. So I think I'm gonna probably dissolve the alliance with them and let them be. Let's skip to 1762. Briefly before 1762, I wanted to just quickly take a look back at the comparative size of the Commonwealth and Russia. Really, Russia is going to practically be about the entire remainder of my journey here in Europa Universalis, so we're going to focus quite a bit on Russia. So we can see here how much territory the Commonwealth was occupying. 1706. This is 1731, and I'd waged war already on the Commonwealth, but that was to try and let Brandenburg in. So this is at the beginning of my second war with them, where we haven't really done anything on the Western Front. So 1731 is when we started the war. Some progress by 1740 on the Russian front. That was at the end of the Second Commonwealth War, and then at the end of the third one, we end up where we are today in 1761, where Russia has pushed even further west and is sort of starting to feel their power. So again, we're going to wait now until 1762. Unfortunately, I couldn't wait until 1762 for this to happen. 1762 was the date that Catherine the Great took over the empirehood, of Russia by dethroning her husband Peter III, and not Peter the Great, by the way. Anyway, under Catherine, Russia really thrived and continued its ascent to being a great power. And militarily, Russia really just whooped the Ottomans back and forth and caused them several crushing defeats, which made them realize that they were really outclassed and outgunned and needed to modernize. But that's really the next, last, and final video of the Ottomans. We're going to call this one quits at this point, because really what it was just a bunch of international diplomacy. So you can see again that Russia is large. Now, I helped them do that. That's not historically accurate. The Commonwealth is way up here where they shouldn't be. And also, Britain succeeded in just basically being revolutionary, and they're really kind of the greatest power at this point. They're really number one. Now you can see that the Ottomans have fallen. We used to be up in 1 and 2. I'm glad Commonwealth fell a little bit. They really should be a lot less than they are at this point. I don't know if we're going to be able to go to war against Britain. I'm going to probably try to avoid that. The big revolutionary power could and should have been France from a historical standpoint. Of course, again, that didn't happen until around 1789, and it was under Napoleon's military leadership that, massive victory, that France achieved massive victory. So we're going to end this as the 6th and next to the last video. We're going to have one more to go, covering the period, forward until 1838. So that's not too good with my math right now, but 75 years? A little bit more than that. And so during that time, during that video, we're going to really see how the Ottoman Empire just kind of became less of a concern. Everyone was kind of like, oh yeah, we forgot about them. Russia was big, France was big, Britain was big. So we'll talk about that a lot more next time. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.